Oh, I remember in hospital it was a horrible experience. I was in so much pain, having everything, all these new meds.
This is my fight.
Because she also had clotting deficiency.
Lexmo.
She just lost the kidney and it had to be taken out the same day.
I can't tell people that I'm struggling because then I'd be ruining their day, ruining their lives.
There is a proportion of patients with nephrotic syndrome who get the disease back in the transplant kidney, and that can be a devastating complication, and sometimes it's very difficult to treat.
11-year-old Ella Chadwick was born with congenital nephrotic syndrome, a rare disease of the kidneys. Having to go straight on dialysis, they had to wait until she was 2 before she could have a kidney transplant.
From the beginning we just thought, oh right, we got told there'd be a transplant. Me and her dad got tested, we both matched. We decided her dad would be the donor, and it was just autopilot, building up to that really, and thinking this will help, although there'll be still medications after that will help change her life, and she'll be right for starting school, and we just focused on that, thinking that everything would go well. But unfortunately first time it didn't, because she also had a clotting deficiency, and she had the transplant on the same day it clotted and made her really poorly. She got sepsis, and she just lost the kidney and it had to be taken out the same day and back on dialysis.
After months in hospital and being in intensive care, they had to wait a further 3 years until Ella could be big enough to try again.
Nana saved my life because she knew I was poorly, but I knew wanted people to save my life. And Nana gave me one kidney who named Cindy Kidney, and I felt really happy, and I felt, well, this is it. I get to be back home.
Ella has now had 40 operations and is 5 years into her new kidney, but there is still a lot of uncertainty with her future, as most transplants only last 20 years and Ella is only 11. She has a lowered immune system, diabetes due to damage from past medication, and can take up to 19 tablets a day. Her bravery and courage has been celebrated through her winning a Pride of Britain award.
You are the sweetest, bravest little girl, and you deserve this. Congratulations.
Thank you. Wow, this is a dream come true. And then all of a sudden, I saw walking past, and it was Simon Cowell, Louis, and all the rest, and I felt shocked, and I thought, oh my God. And I was so pleased because I didn't want to meet One Direction.
Nephrotic syndrome is a disease of the kidneys. Your kidneys are the main filtering unit of the body.
So it's a very, very sophisticated filter, and it allows all the fluids of the body to be retained in the right amount, and also all the proteins in the body to stop from leaving the body. So in nephrotic syndrome, what happens is that filter effectively breaks down, and what you end up with is that the body loses large amounts predominantly of proteins that should be circulating in the bloodstream, but because the filter is losing too much, they get lost in the urine. And the consequences of that can be quite profound, because clearly these are essential circulating proteins that the body needs. So you lose things like antibodies that protect you against infection, you lose clotting factors that protect you against, that give you the ability to clot normally in the bloodstream.
20-year-old Kay Morant was diagnosed 6 years ago. After immunosuppressants crashed his kidney in 2016, he was put on the kidney transplant list.
Got called up for a transplant the next day. It was that quick. It was incredible. Because it doesn't usually happen that quickly, but this did. Just one of those things, and it did. So I went up to Bristol Southmead, got prepared for the transplant, and then went ahead with it. And for the first hour, it worked very well. Then it stopped and didn't restart. And I was in the hospital for 16 days. It was, I remember in hospital, it was a horrible experience. I was in so much pain, having everything, all these new meds and new treatments being done to me to try and get my kidney to work, and I was so swollen as well. I swelled so much.
Cade is not currently looking to have another kidney transplant and instead is relying on dialysis to keep him alive.
I'm able to choose what days, times I want to go on dialysis. I kind of had to stick to a rule of 4 hours a time, and a few other details as well that is in all the data already input that I have to stick to. But I'm able to sit here, relax in my own home with family, friends can come round, and it's just a lot more comfortable. So much more comfortable than being in a very bright scenery with other people and machines alarming off all the time, and just being in a hospital environment is quite stressful as it is. So being at home just gives you the chance to relax and just do everything your way, and gives you a bit more control over your life.
23-year-old Sophie McMillan is managing her nephrotic syndrome for immunosuppressants. However, these come with their own complications such as tremors and anxiety, along with the fact she now suffers from chronic fatigue syndrome. However, with this being an invisible illness, no one can see that she's struggling.
I'm not one for sympathy. I don't go for the, oh my God, poor you, you're ill for the rest of your life thing. But at the same time, it's hard when people look at you like, well, why do you work part-time? You're not ill. I'm very ill. Some days it's hard to get out of bed. Some days my kidneys are hurting all day. The effects of the tablets that I've been on non-stop are awful, but people don't see that. People don't see that you're struggling just to be doing what you're doing, and it takes a lot of explaining just for people to understand what you go through. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to be a mum, because what's the point in trying to be a mum if you can't be a good mum and you're going to be exhausted all the time and relapsing and swelled all the time. I don't know whether I'll actually be able to carry a child with all the drugs I'm on and stuff like that. It's a really scary thing, actually. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one of them people that is like, I really need to have a child, but it's just, sometimes I feel like the option might not be there.
Sophie has found help by writing about her conditions and struggles in a blog.
As a way of just getting my emotions out, because I found it difficult to have an outlet. And I had mums contacting me saying that it made them understand what their small children were going through more, because obviously a small child's not going to know how anxiety or depression feels because of steroids, but I could talk to their mums and tell them how I felt and how it might be affecting their children. I actually had one woman where I actually talked to her daughter about she didn't want to get out of bed and go to school, and I told her that I was getting out of bed and going to uni, so she decided that she would be able to, which was lovely.
However, some never can and have no idea what the future may hold.
I may smile and laugh and write funny blogs about things, but I am petrified about what's coming around the corner.
Yeah, I'm worried about it. I don't like to think about it, but I am worried about it. I'm worried about, I guess, shorter life would be one. I am also unaware of whether my condition is genetic. If it's genetic, then it could possibly cause problems for a family in the future, which I'm worried about. That's my main worry.
I just want to say to all the nurses, thank you to make better, and you're the best, and I'll never forget you. You're my favourite.